Did you know that we have the ability to adopt any traits we want to redefine the person we want to become? Hi, I'm Anika, and this is Rewrite Your Story. Today is part 4 of the 12-part series that we're covering on how to use the PVPS model: premise, vision, purpose, and strategy, which is a life book model, taking a deep dive into various categories of our life in order to design the blueprint of the life that you want for yourself. And the category that we're tackling today is your character. So you'll remember in episode 8, we talked about the 3 MIQs, or the 3 most important questions. The 3 MIQs were discussed under the topic of how to repurpose your goal setting for the ideal life that you aspire. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, then I invite you to watch episode 8. It'll be really helpful and give you a good starting point for this particular category. So in the 3 MIQs, think about all of the experiences that you listed down there that you want in your life. Think about all of that growth that you have to go through to become that aspired version of yourself in every category of your life. Imagine the health and fitness goals that you would have achieved in the body that you aspire for yourself. Imagine the quality of life that you would have as you listed down in your 3 MIQs. Imagine the career goals that you imagine for yourself in your dream job, being able to achieve and meet those financial goals for the dream home that you aspire for yourself and your family, for the type of relationships that you end up having, both in your personal world as well as your professional world. What are the traits that make up the person that lives this life? Who we are in our personality determines the way that we think. It determines our motivations, our intuitions, our beliefs, our temperament, and even our tastes and tendencies. Who we are inside determines how we live on the outside. The sum of all of the different traits in our personality make up our character. Now, can you imagine the impact of the change on a few personality traits? What kind of impact would that have on so many aspects of our life, on our relationships, on the way that we make our decisions, on the way that we respond and react to situations? Let's take an example. So imagine there's a business owner, and it was the dream of this business owner to have business freedom. So wanted to become an entrepreneur, partnered up with 2 friends, and started a business. This person, however, is not a very strong-willed or perhaps an aggressive-natured person. This person is soft-natured, does not really like conflict, and is not very comfortable in getting in front of their clients or their suppliers. So this person requests the partners to be the lead when it comes to their customer and supplier relationships, while the soft-natured person is quite happy working in the background, in the backroom engine of the business, still getting the business freedom that is aspired. However, perhaps over time, as this business starts evolving, as the business starts growing, this person realizes that the non-conflictive and fearful nature is costing them the vision and the desire of having that business freedom. Now this person's stuck. This is a character issue. Imagine the impact that this person can make in their lives with the relationships that they have within their business, with the relationship they have with their partners, with their customers, with their suppliers, and perhaps even in social circles. Imagine the impact it can have on this person's life if they moved from being a fearful and a non-conflictive person to being a more reasonable and a person with more strength and strong will, confidence to be able to stand comfortably in front of their suppliers and customers. So that is why a change or a review of our character traits to see which are those character traits that are really helping us move forward in our life and which are those character traits which are holding us back from that vision that we have, from that desired version of ourselves that we aspire to be. That's what holds the key of importance for this particular category. Now let's see how we can use the PVPS model from Lifebook and implement it into how to redefine the character that we want to aspire for the person that is going to achieve all of those 3 MIQs within the new blueprint of their life. So we'll start with premise, our stop number 1. Over here, you want to ask yourself questions like, what are the values by which you want to live your life? Those rules of judgment between right and wrong in a situation, or right or what's acceptable or not acceptable in a relationship, what's negotiable or not negotiable in a business situation. Where do you take a stand and where do you not? What are your beliefs behind those values? What do you believe about the power that a strong, desired character can bring to your life? What kind of impact, what kind of change can it bring about? Can it help you with better decision making? Perhaps taking action on some of those tasks or some of those to-dos that you've been avoiding or procrastinating over. A lot of the character that that gets built within us happens actually by accident. It happens because of events or experiences that we have been through and that have shaped us through whatever we saw, heard, or felt during that time, how we responded during that time. A lot of what is shaped within us in our character is also built with who we spent our growing up years with. Our teachers, our friends, our peers, our teammates, the people that we work with, the people that we have relationships with. What do you believe for the character that you can define consciously for yourself? You'll remember in yesterday's episode, we talked about how you can actually create states of emotion for yourself to move from a negative or a positive. How we actually have the control and the power to create the desired states of emotion that we want to be in. Happiness and joy, for example, are not a destination to get to, but a state to be in right now, here in the present. They're not attached, they're not rewards or attached to something that happens, which then equates to happiness. Happiness stays in the moment and it's only a state of mind. The same way, a character trait can also be defined and practiced and created for ourselves. So what would be those character traits that you would like to redefine for yourself? Perhaps strength? Would it be more courage? Would it be more self-discipline within the way that you live your life? How about compassion that you can practice in your relationships? Or perhaps more self-belief in order to take action on those steps or on those decisions which seem extremely tough and challenging. Perhaps it's about being more reliable, more accountable. Think about those character traits that would mount up to being the strong person that you aspire to be in the ideal vision for tomorrow. Moving on to the vision. We're not born with traits. As I've just mentioned, most of these traits get adopted by accident. Growing up in a small town where most of the communication, most of the language, and the discussions come from a place of not enough. These create beliefs around scarcity for the people that hear them regularly year after year. And that starts driving thought patterns. It starts driving the way that decisions are made, how we think about challenges. One of the basic truths that we overlook or perhaps have forgotten under all the layers of the borrowed traits that our life is actually ours. Your life is yours. You own it, and you have the choice to become the person that you want to be, living the life that you want for yourself. Now, if you're the centerpiece of your own life, why do we not acknowledge that? Why do we not take responsibility to design the person who holds it? You. If there's anything in your life that you're not happy about, your job, where you live, how much you make, your relationships, your working hours, you have chosen it. It may not seem so, but you have chosen it. And not taking action to change any scenario that is not working for you, that is not filling your heart with happiness and joy, that is not giving you the content and the satisfaction that you aspire for yourself, not taking action on any of those scenarios, that too is a choice. So if you want to take responsibility to empower yourself, to develop the desired traits that are required to build the life that you want for yourself, let's define your vision by asking ourselves these questions. How would you like to define the good and strong character of the person that you would like to become? What would you like to exercise more of in your life to become the person that you want? What would you want to exercise less of and replace with something which is more empowering to build that strong character? What character traits would change your story? What would have a multiple impact and effect on various categories of your life and give it a whole new level? Think about it. It's limitless. It's your life, your choice. Let's move on now to the purpose. Just like any other category on life that we've discussed so far and those that we will still be discussing over the next few days, they're all connected. Change in one area has a domino effect on several other areas of our life. Think of the more and the different that you want in your life vision. And from there, you can think about the characters that you need to get to that point. So let's say you want financial freedom. Then you want to think about integrity. You want to think about determination. You want to think about consistency. You probably also want to think about self-discipline, right? Maybe you want more thrills and adventures. So what are the character traits that you want to think about for having more thrills and adventurous experiences in your life? You probably want to think about more courage, more spontaneity, more self-belief. You also want to think about those character traits that you want to replace with these stronger ones, right? So what are those character traits that you need to gain a vision of the different categories of your life? You're going to have a vision that you're defining for each category of your life through the 12-part series that we are on right now. Go through the vision for each of those categories. Think about the character traits that are required in order to gain that vision. What kind of a person has that type of a vision? That's what will help you define your why and your purpose for this particular category. How do these traits impact your life? The outcome of your desired character traits will define the purpose in this category. And finally, on to the strategy. How do we ensure that this powerful category has an action plan on how to adopt these character traits and make them part of who we want to become? How can you practice the traits that you want for yourself, include them into your day so that they become a habit? What can you regularly do consistently to train yourself on any of those character traits that you have now identified for yourself to adopt within your personality? What do you need to do to bring these traits to life within you as part of your DNA? So the number one character trait that most people seek for is self-discipline. Imagine the impact you can make on so many categories of your life if you practiced self-discipline. The impact that it would make on your health and fitness goals, the impact that it would make on your financial goals, the impact that it would thereby make on your overall emotional life and yourself. Now, bringing about habits is not easy. It is hard. The trick is in its consistency. We often aim too high and start on a habit. And the reason that we step back from it is we may have raised the bar too high. There's also an episode that we covered at the beginning of our 90-day challenge. I want to say that it was around maybe episode 7. You might want to check that out, where we talked about the reason why goals fail and what would be the 3 main areas for goal setting. They have to have a why behind them. It has to be aligned with something that you really love. So you have to find joy and happiness in doing it. And the third thing is having a practical environment to support it, so that bringing it into your life as a habit, little by little, does not seem like a monumental task. That's why I say, when you want to start on a new habit, start on it with small. Focus on the consistency of it, showing up for it on a daily or a regular basis at whatever frequency that you set up for yourself, but keep it consistent. For some people, 7 to 10 days is enough to pick up a habit if they're used to picking up new habits. For others, it takes about 21 to 28 days. So start small and keep building on it little by little. Start with saving 500 rupees or $50 a month. Start with 5 minutes of a workout per day. Take one day at a time, one step at a time. And one day you'll realize you'll be doing it on autopilot. That's when you know it's become a habit. And there, your self-discipline trait would have been adopted, which now you can implement across several categories of your life and for various goals that you set in order to achieve them. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, when we tackle the fifth category on life book, which is your spiritual life, how you are connected to the rest of the world and how you are connected to yourself. A beautiful category to go over. I am excited and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until then, take care and stay awesome.